All right. So we hung out this weekend. We've golfed this week. We're both in the Okanagan now, which is cool. Let's talk about some actual golf with some real pros, not just, us trying to, pretend we're golfing.
Sure.
Patrick Cantlay, he won the Tour Championship.
Yes.
Congratulations to Patrick Cantlay. Did you catch the final round this afternoon of the Tour Championship?
No, I actually did. Yeah, I watched just like parts of it during work. I worked today. I worked kind of and watched Rom and Cantlay, John Rom and Patrick Cantlay kind of battle it out, kind of go not really back and forth, but Rom would always seem to be a shot behind. There was never like any back and forth. Cantlay just managed to hold him off. Yeah, I mean, great performance from Cantlay, no doubt. Rom, man, did he give it a good shot, but he just couldn't get those putts to fall.
It's been such two takeaways from today where Cantlay had the great week last week at the BMW Championship against Bryson, where I think he ended up finishing with 27 under, which is just ridiculous. And then this week was it 20 or 21 under that he ended up with?
Yeah, 21 under. But again, remember he started at 10 under. So
yeah,
right. So again, it gets just because how the Tour Championship works. You get seeded, and the number of seeded is how many strokes you are. Like there's a certain ranking system. But yeah, Cantlay started at 10 under, so he was really only 11 under the tournament
for the whole tournament. But it was still a great performance.
Oh, nevertheless. Yeah. No doubt.
And the other thing I wanted to mention was John Rahm having one of the most roller coaster like seasons.
Oh, 100%. I mean, this was a super season, right? So let's not forget this started like last July.
Last US Open, like when Bryson won, that was when the season started. They were still picking up from last year.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So that's a long season for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So again, good for Cantlay to do it all. And Rahm had a great season. There were a bunch of guys that had good seasons and had good runs for sure. But I mean, not to state the obvious, Cantlay obviously had the best one, but Rahm was very good. I would throw Justin Thomas in there as having a good season. Schauffele, although he didn't technically win on tour, he had a great season too. He didn't win the gold medal at the Olympics, which was huge. But yeah, just there's a bunch of names. I mean, I'm probably missing a few. You have a list of guys that you want to talk about.
Well, I kind of wanted to do a kind of a quick recap of the golf season because I think we're going to do a golf preview for the Ryder Cup here in a couple weeks with some special guests. But Hideki Matsuyama won the Masters this year. Yep. Mickelson won the PGA Championship this year. Rahm won the U.S. Open. Colin Morikawa won the Open Championship. Schauffele won the gold medal. Like, a lot of great golfers won events this year, which I thought was really cool. It doesn't feel like the parity like we see in like hockey. It actually felt like these guys truly deserve to win. And
say that exactly. It's not like, you talk about dynasties in golf, like that would be, to me, that screams Tiger Woods right there. But there isn't that type of like, oh my God, dynasty, but there's like 10 to 12 guys that could win every week, which is really cool. And that's something that's fun to see. And again, for the guys you mentioned there, well, maybe not Mickelson, but yeah, 4 of the 5 guys you mentioned there are guys that could win. If they get some putts to fall, they could win every week.
Oh, that's for sure.
Is, right? So, and all these guys are so good at this point. Like,
did you have a favorite moment from this season, from the golf season?
Oh,
I think mine's got to be the Mickelson PGA Championship.
It's a tough one.
I think the Mickelson win had the most hype. I think people were the most interested in the Mickelson win.
Yeah, well, no doubt he's an iconic figure on tour. A favorite moment, that's tough. I gotta think about that one. I was gonna say the Masters with Matsuyama and Schauffele, kind of that back and forth.
Sure.
That was really fun to watch. I mean, if we count DeChambeau's win at Winged Foot, that's technically last year.
Sure.
Part of this season, I would say that's one of them too. Yeah. I mean, I will say I did like the I think it was not the Genesis Open, but the Century, I think, TOC, whatever one they had, like the
in Hawaii.
No. Maybe it was that one. There was one where it was like Charlie and Tiger were in the same group. They played together, and then Justin Thomas and his dad.
Okay.
I forgot what it's called, but that was maybe early last year. I watched a good chunk of that. That was really cool to see too.
There you go.
Yeah, so the tournament with Justin Thomas and his dad, and then Tiger and his son Charlie. Let me just check to see what that tournament was called.
Yeah, okay. I know, I remember which one you're talking about. I can't remember the actual name of it, but I do remember that moment.
PNC Championship.
Okay.
It was like something very familiar, and yeah, but the PNC Championship was it was like a two-man best ball with a PGA Tour player and a family member from their family. So yeah, I thought that was really cool as well. But I'll go with the Masters battle between Schauffele and Matsuyama. I think that was really cool.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up with you, where I think listen, I like Bryson. I think Bryson is a great golfer. I think he's doing something that's great for the sport of golf. And he's a personality, good and bad. Like, he can get in his own way quite a bit, but he is a personality. What do you think? Do you think Bryson is maybe the biggest name with Tiger being out, because Tiger's not physically able to golf? Is Tiger now not, I shouldn't say Tiger, but is Bryson now the big guy with golf? Like, that's the star that we're selling every weekend. Do you think that's Bryson at this point?
No, and I have a few reasons why.
Okay.
Bryson, don't get me wrong, is a polarizing figure, and he is. I mean, we know you're a simp for DeChambeau, and I love that, I respect that, and that's awesome.
Well, the reason I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's like, the reason I say that is because I think he's a guy that the casuals know. Like, if you're trying to get the casuals to watch majors.
Pardon? Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think you're right about that. That he is what casual fans like. Like, they're like, okay, this guy can hit it 360 yards. Like, he's an absolute beast. No one can ever do that. No one's ever done that consistently, at least. And I would say, I would say he's one of the figures on tour to watch. But I wouldn't say, you can't really put a label on a guy that you're like, okay, this is the guy we're gonna watch every week.
This is the guy we're marketing. Like, this is the guy. This is going to be our star. Like, Bryson's not that guy. It's a bunch of guys for you then.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think there's 6. There's 6 guys that come to mind. And I'll just list them all quickly here.
Sure.
Justin Thomas, Jon Rahm, Dustin Johnson.
I think Tiger and Phil, when they're healthy.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Well, Tiger and Phil are their own. That's their own echelon.
Sure. That's fair. That's fair.
They're their own league. I'm talking about, there's these 6 guys in the middle. Bryson is one of them. Is one of those 6 guys for sure. But DJ, Rahm, Justin Thomas. I said Rahm. Yeah, I said so Morikawa, DeChambeau, and
Brooksy.
No, McIlroy. Brooks.
Oh no, you got to go. No, Brooksy's ahead of McIlroy, I think.
No, I don't think enough people like Brooks. So if the PGA Tour is trying to market,
I don't know if enough casuals know who McIlroy is. Yeah. Like, I think Koepka has a way better game offline, like off the course, online, than McIlroy does, and that's why I think people like him more.
You think people like Koepka more than McIlroy?
I think so. I can make that an SYP poll, but I think more people like Koepka more than McIlroy.
I don't agree with that, but
okay.
Let's let the fans decide that.
Sure.
We'll do Koepka versus McIlroy. Who do people like more? So who would you rather? I guess it's a tough one. Who would you rather watch, or who would you rather?
Who do you like? I guess, who do you like more as a person, as an individual?
I like that.
Like, because you have your 6 guys. Is that so? That's kind of where golf is right now. We have 6 guys who we're really marketing and we're really selling, and we're real, like, these are the 6 guys that we're really, I don't want to say leaning on, but in a way leaning on to help grow our sport.
I wouldn't say I can't limit it to just 6 guys. The PGA Tour now is so
wide open,
and there's so many, even like every week. you'll see like, oh my God, this guy's like newish to a very casual fan. I follow it pretty closely, so I know a few guys better than some other people might. And
Kevin Knox.
yeah, Kevin Knox is one of them. Cameron Champ is a name that people don't really
Oh
know.
yes,
I
Kevin
like.
Knox. Actually, I think it's the basketball player, isn't he?
There's Kevin Kisner, who you
That's who I think. I'm thinking of
I
Kevin
think it's Kevin
Kisner.
Kisner, yeah. Anyways, yeah. So there's so many other guys that on any given week could put on a show and be in the top 6. I'm just like the guys that I mentioned are just consistently there, and they're guys that I think are very enjoyable to watch and they're fun players. But it can't just be limited to just 6 players. There's so many people that could be there or on the list or around that, you know.
That's fair. I don't have an argument with that. I wanted to know what your thought is because I think you and I think like not that we're against one another, but I think you and I see different like not quite eye to eye, but maybe differently in some regards in that sense of like having your stars versus just the whole field, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. No, it takes it's not one player that makes the league. It's a few players
it takes an army.
Exactly.
The other question I wanted to throw at you, this was an interesting one. Let's say there was a commissioner of golf.
Sure.
The Gary Bettman of golf.
Well, it's Professional Golf Association, but
okay. Is that what it is? Okay, so basically, if you were the head of the PGA,
sure.
Is there anything you would change to the golf season, like the schedule, courses, timing of majors, actual gameplay? Like, is there something that's really bugging you in golf that you'd like to see changed if you got the opportunity to change it?
There's a thing. I think it was either Xander Schauffele or it might have been Justin Rose. It was either one of those two guys. They brought up a really interesting point about the length versus the width of golf courses. Length of golf courses, in essence, doesn't matter. Like you can make it as long as you want. PGA Tour players will still rip it apart. It's having players make different shots. Like you can have, for example, you can have an open course and you have you have like a 560-yard par 4, which for you and I is like a pretty long par 5, especially
that might be there all day,
especially at sea level. For those guys, a lot of those guys can hit that green in 2. Because you think about it, that's in pristine conditions. If they hit an average, let's say they hit an average 320-yard drive,
sure,
516th, they only have 240 in. For some guys, that's like a 6-iron. Or
it's an 8-iron for Bryson.
It's an 8-iron. Well, exactly, it's an 8-iron for Bryson. I mean, well, there's a thing that I think it was what was his name? Luke Donald was giving him shit because. Did you see that post? It was really funny, actually.
I didn't see the post, but somebody was trying to tell me about it, and I wanted to search it up, but I didn't get the opportunity to.
Quick sidebar. So Luke Donald, former English golfer.
I think he's doing commentary now.
He's doing commentary now, I think, for the Golf Network or someone.
Yeah.
Anyways, so the reason why DeChambeau can hit his 8-iron 233 yards is because he de-lofts his club. So basically, 8-irons like pretty lofted. So he de-lofts it, so he makes it flatter. And because he swings so fucking hard, if you have a lofted club, he'll spin. This is the quote from Instagram: "Spin the shit out of the ball." Not a joke, which makes sense because he create so much swing speed, so it'll be out of control. So he has to de-loft it and get it lower, right? And because he comes so steep on the ball, he'll make it go higher, right? Anyways, so point is, Justin Thomas was funny. He gave a response. I was like, guys, like let's have him. Let's have a good story here. Let's see. Oh, Bryson can actually hit an 8-iron 233 yards. But my overarching point here is that making the course longer isn't going to do anything. You have to make it tighter. You have to make shots more interesting. Make the rough a little more harder to get out of. You have to really kind of challenge these golfers in different ways, other than hitting the ball further. Because with technology and how it is these days, guys can hit 320-yard drives without any issue.
Well, the other thing too, I think there's something to be said for like guys are taking care of themselves, like physically, like their health is way better than they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
100%. Well, golfers are athletes at this point. You look at McNaughton in the gym, he's a beast.
Yeah. So I think there is something to be said for that. Yeah. I think if I had the opportunity to do something, I would try and simplify the rules a bit for
Okay.
golf. Because I think for, again, some casuals, some of the rules can be a bit confusing, like baseball in a way. Like some of the rules can be confusing about like not grounding your club into sand, or like can't,
I
if
mean,
somebody doesn't.
you still do it anyways, but whatever.
No, I get that, but I think I think if there's an opportunity to make, things a little bit easier,
Yeah.
people would follow golf a bit more. What I love about golf, and what I love what they did recently, I can't remember how many years ago, but I think they announced this, the new format, the new schedule, how we're doing it now, since golf got into the Olympics, was we have a major in April, May, June, and July.
Right.
August is usually, by the end of July, August is when the Olympics happen, if they do happen.
Right.
And the whole season's wrapped up by football season, which I think is smart. It's so smart because you're not competing with the NFL on Sundays. You have your, you have your peaks and valleys of interest throughout the spring and the summer with major events, with some smaller events, with the Olympics every 4 years. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a really great schedule that they have. So there's not a lot actually I would change to it. Maybe just making the rules simpler. Like I think golf as a, smaller, I don't want to say niche sport, but like, it's not one of the 4 major sports, but it still definitely has its place in the sporting world today, especially as a, television viewing experience. I think it's in a really good spot.
I think being at a golf course, watching these guys live, I think that would be like an experience second. And I've never had the chance to go to a PGA tournament, but I think it'd be on the list. Waste Management Open, here we come. But that's in Arizona. That's with the 16th hole around the grandstand, or with the grandstand around it. That would be a good experience. But I agree with you. Like the schedule is really good. I mean, I grew up knowing the rules of golf. My dad kind of drilled it in my head when I was 12, 13 years old. So
I was gonna say that's all my dad tried to teach me as a kid was like golf etiquette, and then we go play at Sumac. Yeah. And you saw Sumac, like we're trying to play golf etiquette at Sumac, and it's just okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyways, but yeah, I don't know. I think the PGA does a really good job with what they're doing, and they, I think the game's growing a lot, and as it should. Golf's a great game. It's not the most physically demanding, and because you can play as a 67-year-old. But mentally, it's one of the hardest sports in the world.
Well, and the other thing too, in terms of like, from my looking at it from my perspective, like trying to sell it online or promote it on social media,
right?
Like there's a lot of interesting storylines when it comes to golf.
Oh, no doubt.
Especially during the major season.
Yep.
So that's our golf talk. I'm really glad we did that.
Yeah, that was needed. That was good.
That was good. We'll do a Ryder Cup preview here in a couple of weeks when that kicks off, but I'm really excited for that.